help with the board, so the board lead. And previous to this is my first year in the role. I head of guidance for 3 years, and then a guidance and a science teacher in a high school in Burlington. So talking about the different pathways after high school, and I am going to touch on all 5 because there are 5 pathways. So university, apprenticeship, college, workplace, and community living. And what we're going to talk about today is any prerequisites that may be needed to get there. Talk a little bit about maybe some cost of them, length, duration, so how long is each program, things that need to be considered during high school to plan for it. And then on your handout there, we've got the websites that I'm going to be referring to, because really there is a ton of information online. So pointing you in the direction, also showing you a few screenshots of some of the information that you can find. So looking at the different pathways, this acronym you will see during many different presentations with Halton District School Board. It's the same acronym that we use with the Halton Catholic. So we partner with some of our pathways programs in grade 11 and grade 12, our SHISM programs and our OYAP programs. So representing apprenticeship, college, community, pathway, university, and workplace, and that they are all very equal, and we're trying to support our students in the best way possible so that we've got the outcome, they've got the outcome that they need as they move forward into their first step outside of high school, because of course we know that many students, well, they may look at one destination after high school, they might continue planning, training, changing careers throughout, so we're preparing them for that first step out. So looking at the percentage of students, this is in Ontario, this is from the King report, percentage of our students and where they go immediately after high school. So about 6% go to apprenticeship, 20% to college, 34% to university, and the largest number, 40%, go directly to work. Which, yeah, no.
That's the evaluation for the whole Halton.
All of Ontario. All of Ontario, yeah, so quite surprising, right? I think that's really not what we think of, and I know when we talk to students, whether they be in grade 8, grade 9, grade 12, this certainly is not what they picture. I do not have Halton statistics, but I do have, you know, my anecdotal information from the schools that I've been at, because I have been tracking it over 3 years at my most recent school. And the work number isn't quite as high. University and college were more balanced in the school that I was at. They were about 30 to 40% each, and then workplace being about 20%. Apprenticeship is lower. Apprenticeship tends to be, the average age tends to be closer to about 24 years of age. And I think that's for a lot of different reasons in terms of exposure to it, and you need to have that connection. So we'll talk about that with apprenticeship. One reason why I'm really happy to be here today is because this number is great that we've got students going off and working. However, our youth unemployment rate, so up to 24 years of age, is double the unemployment rate for all of Ontario. So our youth unemployment rate is about 13%, whereas the unemployment rate for everyone in Ontario is about 6%. So that's really disturbing because our youth are coming out, and if they're not able to find jobs, you know, it can be very difficult. And part of the reason for that is because people are already in those jobs, but also the training that's required. So really taking a look at these other 3 avenues of post-secondary training. Of course, there are some jobs where you don't need the training, but there are many jobs that do. And many times those jobs in the apprenticeship, college, and university pathways, because of that training, they're getting a higher wage, which is then going to improve, you know, quality of life, access to different things for our students. So looking at apprenticeship is a practical method of training, so it's hands-on training, but it's combined with in-class education as well. Apprentices are paid, so while they're going through the training, they are paid. There's over 130 different skilled trades in different sectors. So we have the automotive sector, the construction sector, there's also the service sector as well, which a lot of people don't realize is an apprenticeable or has apprenticeable trades in it. Early childhood education can be an apprenticeship or apprenticeable trade, as well as a college program. Hairdressing, cosmetology, some of the personal support worker programs, so even some medical ones as well are also apprenticeable. So students are getting paid while they are training on the job. As their experience increases, the pay also increases. So this is a really cost-effective way to get your post-secondary training. Once they have reached so many hours, and every trade has its own guidelines as to how much education is required, how much training is required. They are then usually going to community colleges to complete the schooling part. Using early childhood education as an example, when those students are going to college at Mohawk College, they're going on the evenings and the weekends as an apprentice because they're maybe continuing to work, maybe a lighter workload to manage the schooling. They're actually doing the majority of the exact same courses that you would do in a college diploma in the apprenticeship. So now those students are being paid to do the apprenticeship. There's also loans and grants as an apprentice to pay for your tools, to help pay for schooling, things like that. So working in the school I was just at, we have a dual credit with Mohawk College, and from there some students would go into an apprenticeship and some students would go into college for the ECE program, and the cost differential was very different. So looking at about $16,000 for college for over 2 to 3 years to earn their diploma in ECE compared to an apprenticeship, and with the loans and the grants and the working, we're down to a few $100s per year. And that happens in many different areas as well.
But apprenticeship you do only after you have completed certain years of your...
Actually, you know what? So we're going to talk about that right now. That's a great question, yeah. So apprenticeship can actually start in high school. So you can do an OYAP co-op. So if you are completing a co-op as a grade 11 or 12 student in an apprenticeable trade, so for example, early childhood education, construction worker, working in the automotive sector, those co-op hours actually count towards your OYAP. So they count towards your practical hours. So you can fast track. You can work on your high school diploma and your apprenticeship track at the same time. We also in Halton have about 20 accelerated OYAP programs, which are for students. Most students are in grade 12. Some students will return into a grade 12 plus year. And in that time, they are completing courses in that specialized area. So at Robert Bateman High School, for example, they have an auto body program, there's a cosmetology program, some schools have construction programs, some are in the landscape and design area. So they would be working with those teachers, the technology teachers, in an advanced field, preparing, so getting that education piece in advance, and then there's also a co-op tied to that as well. So this would then, the accelerated OYAP programs, get them prepared for the college piece that comes during the apprenticeship, or in some cases, can actually replace sometimes that level 1 training, and there are exams that happen throughout apprenticeship as well. So each tier, each level has a different exam after that college component or in-class component. In college, some of the diploma programs also have a co-op attached to them. And again, if that co-op is in an apprenticeable trade, you can complete your college diploma and start working towards your apprenticeship at the same time. And then at colleges, as well as a few other areas, there are some pre-apprenticeship training programs, because in order to be an apprentice, you need to have somebody who's signing you. So that can be a challenging part, finding somebody who works in the area, who is certified or qualified themselves, and who is willing to take you on, because of course there is that paid component. So doing a co-op in high school is great because you can start to build that relationship, show the employer the skills that you have, be signed as an apprentice, and then hopefully continue on. That's our goal with our accelerated OYAP programs, is to build that capacity and to let the employer and the student have a relationship or start to build a relationship. So a pre-apprenticeship training program would help to fill that void. So giving you some hands-on experience, giving you some of that in-class component, so that now you can then go out and seek an employer to sign you as an apprentice in that area with some background. So you're coming to them with something, with a certificate, with these programs completed, so that the employer knows what they're getting and what skills you're coming to the table with.
Do we have the numbers, how much percentage of the high school students go to this?
So 6% of students will go into an apprenticeship program directly from high school.
I say after, but you say this.
After.
Also during the high school, they also take this kind of training program?
Yes, but so those numbers that I gave you, the 6%, that's after they finish high school,
Yeah.
where are they going?
Yeah.
I do not have numbers for how many students are doing co-op in an apprenticeable field.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, say maybe some percentage of the high school students take this during their high school, then they go to work. Can they do like that? So
They can, yeah, so a
40%.
student may complete a co-op in an apprenticeable field, but decide not to continue on with the apprenticeship and go
Yeah.
directly to work, they can do that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
interesting.
So looking at how long does it take, depending on the skill trade that you're going into, they have different timelines. So we're looking at 2 to 5 years. So really we're looking at the same duration as a college or university diploma. So again, that post-secondary training is really comparable to what you're receiving in college or university, but it's geared toward a different occupation. Combination of on-the-job and in-school training. And the steps would be, number one, exploring your options, so identifying what your interests are, where you're interested in going, where your skills lie. And then finding a sponsor is the really big step. Finding an employer who is looking to sign you and willing to sign you and go through that process with you, because it is 2 to 5 years. Apprentices do have the ability to change employers if that happens. So there is paperwork and things that the government monitors, but you wouldn't be obligated to stay together.
So what's the minimum age that they could start working?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So some trades, and on the website, I think I've given you a few under A. The government website, the tcu.gov.on.ca, has each of the apprenticeships, because some apprenticeships you can start as early as 16, some you have to have graduated high school. So there are some different requirements based on age or based on high school completion. And that really depends on what is it that the trade requires. For example, if you're looking at something like an electrician, right, really looking at that math knowledge, the health and safety knowledge, so those academic requirements for something like an electrician will be different than another trade. Yeah, so each trade is governed separately under their unions. And then, so signing up, so once you found your sponsor, completing all the paperwork, again, there are many loans and grants that are available to apprentices to help to support payment for their cost of tools, because those are often the responsibility of the apprentice to start building their toolkit. And then also too, becoming a member of the Ontario College of Trades, who governs all of this as well. So once they are an apprentice, there is another step to becoming a member of the Ontario College of Trades. And looking at the different websites, which are the same ones on there, so OYAP connects to Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, which are students in high school able to begin their apprenticeship early. ApprenticeTrades.ca, as well as, and then ApprenticeSearch.com. These are, ApprenticeSearch.com allows you to search employers who are looking for apprentices, and it allows employers to sign up to say what it is that they're looking for. So it helps to match for people who are looking for a sponsor. The College of Trades, of course. Earn While You Learn is geared towards students. So this is a new website done through the Ontario College of Trades, geared towards students, teaching them about the trades. It gives them an idea of how much they make. So what are the different salaries, what are the responsibilities, what are the kinds of skills. Really student friendly. It's a really great website. And then this is the government website, tcu.gov.on.ca, which is a great starting place as well. Lists all the apprenticeable trades, all the regulations, and everything you would need to do if that was an area you were interested in pursuing. The community pathway is a pathway designed for students with special education needs who are primarily accessing non-credit courses. In Halton, we have a few schools that have center programs, life skill programs. They have different names. So these students are usually not working towards the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, but working towards meeting their own educational goals. They may be working on a few credits as they go through, adding up, but really we are looking towards life skills and engaging them in the community beyond. For these students, next steps may include working in the community through volunteer work. It could include paid employment, maybe looking at recreation programs for these students. And now there is also what's called community integration through cooperative education. and this is available through some of the colleges. And for these students, they have the ability to stay in high school possibly up to the age of 21, depending on what their learning goals are. So on their IEP, there is a transition plan, so parents, special education workers, the student, community support workers work together to work with the student to identify the best goals, next steps, and what those transitions will be for the student. There is a lot of great information under the special education tab on hdsb.ca. The region of Halton provides some support services and has a website with a lot of great resources as well as next steps. Community living is available in all regions. So when you go onto that website, you can access the different regions based on where you live to see what supports are available in your community. DSO or DS Ontario, as well as sopdi.ca are all resources that will be considered during the transition planning for the student. So they give a great summary of the transitions that are available.
I'm quite new to this system, so I
Yes.
don't know what community.
So community would be for a student who is not able to because of their special education needs. So possibly intellectual, developmental, physical, not able to complete the high school diploma during the time. So they're working on different goals.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope, that's okay. Hi guys, come on in, grab a seat.
But special education doesn't include your gifted?
No, so this would be very different. Well, special education does include gifted, but those students would be working towards a high school diploma. Community are for students who are not working towards the high school diploma.
I had another question.
Yes.
So one of my close cousins, she's here, and then she never went to school here. So, but
Okay.
however, she wants to pursue a different medical program here.
Okay.
So she would need to take, and she was in another field. So she would need to take, I guess, GED or something.
Okay.
It's like a high school diploma program.
Okay.
She would need to.
So if you're looking at medical, you're probably looking at college or university. So when we get to that, I may answer your question, and if not, we can discuss it at the end.
Oh,
Yeah. Looking at workplace, so students do have the ability to go right to work after high school. Some students choose to do this for a few years while they get to know more about themselves, what it is they wish to pursue. So there's that option. So we do have some students who then continue on to an apprenticeship, college, or university after. I did mention that apprenticeship, the average age is usually around 24 years of age because those students are navigating, identifying what it is that they're interested in, gaining some experience, connecting with employers. So that's a common place. But we do have many students who will go out and work and then attend college part-time, full-time, same as university, and pursue that after. Students who are looking at working after high school, again, exploring options, so different high schools will have different seminars, possibly through the careers class, through co-op, different opportunities to explore their options, develop resumes, cover letters. Volunteering is a great source of experience for these students to identify different places that they may be interested in working. Cooperative education, and for cooperative education, it is the ability to earn credits while working. So in high school, in grade 11 and grade 12, students can work, so with a placement in an area that they're interested in, and while they're doing that, it's usually in a package of 2, then they would go out in the morning or the afternoon and actually work. Instead of payment, what they are receiving is an education, and they are receiving credit. So often they're bundled as a package of 2 credits. Really great opportunity for students to identify, is this really what I want to do? So that's a great way to make connections, identify who I am, what are my opportunities to move forward.
So instead of getting paid, you're saying they're earning more credits?
They are earning credits, yes.
So in the other programs, they should still be earning any credits?
Right, so they would still be completing their English and their math and, maybe science or business, depending on what it is they're interested in. These are elective credits, just like in high school. Your biology, as an example, tech courses. Most grade 11 and 12 courses are electives because students get to pick and choose what works for them and what they want to explore. And co-op is another way to do that. All communities have youth employment services, and in Halton, some of the ones that we use, In Burlington in particular, the YMCA hosts our youth employment services. So they will run resume, cover letter workshops, mock interviews. All of that is run through these youth employment services that students can access up until the age of, I think it's 24. So really great free resource. They run different clinics. Again, you can go in and have some mock interviews, get some feedback, as well as actually connecting to employers in the area. There's also the Goodwill Center. Youth Employment Services, I believe this is more of a North Halton, so Georgetown and I believe Milton are the ones who run those programs. And then these ones are through, we're looking at the Job Bank and Job Futures. So those are some great resources for students. And looking at college and university, and I have grouped these together because there is some overlap between some of the offerings now. University and college have been changing a lot over the last 10 years, and part of that is because the government is forcing more of a partnership so that as students are getting their post-secondary training, if one is more suitable to another, we want to make sure that that previous training is being recognized. So college programs are really geared towards career-specific jobs, so job training, and really looking at that preparation, for example, to go into a business field, to go into a healthcare field. So very career-specific, maybe not necessarily one career, it might be a bundle of career options. Whereas university, we're looking more theoretical in nature. So college we consider to be more of an applied learning because you're really learning about a specific career. Whereas university, you're learning some theoretical concepts, learning problem solving, some critical thinking, which is also happening in college, but college has that applied, so you're doing problem solving, critical thinking around that career sector. University, you may or may not be taking as many courses in the career sector. So there's more electives, which is why there's a little bit more time as well. So looking at college, many different options in college. And these can be part-time or they can be full-time. So a certificate at college is usually about 1 year. It usually happens after a student has graduated high school. Yes, absolutely. But some college certificates may not require it, or if you're a mature student, they may look at that differently. A college diploma is 2 years, and an advanced diploma is 3 years. An example between the college diploma, 2 years versus 3 years, is an extra year of specialization. So looking at an architectural technologist, somebody who helps with building designs and plans and works with an architect, works with a construction company to kind of do that creation in AutoCAD, is here you would be looking at 2 years as a technician. And then advanced diploma, sometimes they call them as a technologist. So an extra year. The first 2 years would be identical, and then that student is deciding or maybe applying to, yes, I really want to go more in depth with that third year. Another example is looking in a hospital, looking at cardiac technology, so people who run lab technology, so lead testing, the heart labs, x-ray technician, ultrasound technician. Those ones, looking 2 years would be a general diploma, and then something like an ultrasound technician or x-ray technician might be then taking it to that third year, and now you're specializing in an area. Right?
Can I
Yes.
understand all the colleges should provide all this kind of diploma? It's really depends on your needs, your personal
Exactly.
needs. Okay.
Yeah, so depending on which career or which career goals you have, then you're looking at, okay, which one meets your needs the best. And also too, you can navigate through them.
Okay.
And then colleges now are also, well not now, it's been quite a few years now, but are offering applied degrees, which is what a university earns. So going to university for 3 to 4 years, your goal is to earn a degree, a university degree. Colleges also offer those, so they have similar requirements to get into these degree programs as a university program. So when we talk about university, we'll also be coming back to this college piece as well. And an applied degree is going to be a little bit different than a university degree. So university is going to be, again, that very theoretical probably component, whereas an applied degree, for example, looking at nursing. So nursing can be an advanced diploma, it also can be a degree as well. So colleges tend to have smaller class sizes, and tend to be focused more on a smaller sector of careers than a university degree, which is wide open for the most part, unless you're looking at a professional degree. So to get into college, what does it take? So it takes your high school diploma, okay, so completing your high school diploma, and then it could include required courses. The most commonly required course is grade 12 college English, okay, which is also a requirement for graduation. Some other required courses could include a math for some of the business programs, healthcare programs, technology programs, looking for a math as required learning, prerequisite learning. And some courses also require a science. You'll also have some courses that require maybe an essay to come into, completing a resume, maybe a portfolio if you're heading into something into the arts. Interior design, for example, requires some portfolios. Admission testing is really common in some of the healthcare fields. So if you're looking at going into nursing, into paramedics, there's often some testing that you need to complete to show that you have that prerequisite knowledge. Sometimes you have to attend an information session because that then might give you information about the admission test. Sometimes there are some physical tests that you're going through. For example, going into firefighting might have a physical component to do. Applying to Ontario colleges, students have the ability to apply to 5 choices and only 5 choices. Only up to 5 choices, I should say. It is a flat fee, usually around $100. I didn't include that because every year it does change by a few dollars. But it's about $100 for 5 choices. And you can apply up to 2 or 3 programs at one school. Students have to apply by February 1st if they want equal consideration. And what that means is that anybody who applies before February 1st, they look at all the applications equally. If you apply after February 1st, they're going to look at everybody before February 1st first, and then if there are any spots left, then they start looking in order to see whether or not you meet the requirements. So in high school, we really talk to students about ensuring that this application is in. And in a lot of high schools, we actually recommend that it's completed before Christmas, because when students return after Christmas, you're into preparing for final exams, it gets really busy, students are off, and then February 1st sometimes is right at the very end of exams, where we may not be there, or they're preoccupied, or they're stressed. So students can apply early, and then they can make changes up to February 1st with no issues. But then you know that the application is in, the majority of it is okay, and then they can make some changes. And usually the date that students have to decide, because they'll be offered program offers between February and May. If you've been offered something by then, you have to tell the school which one you're going to by May 1st. So letting that school know and then proceed there, following instructions of the school. For a degree program at college, the difference is here, now they're being very specific about what they're requiring. So 6 grade 12 university or university college courses, which are coded as an M in high school, including, this is a grade 12 university English, as opposed to a diploma program which would require a grade 12 college English. I talked about the applied degrees. Some college degrees are collaborative. Universities and college programs will work together. A really common one around here is the MOMAC program for nursing, Mohawk and McMaster, and students there complete 2 years of the college program at Mohawk College, and then go on to McMaster to complete the final 2 years of the university degree. And they're coming out with a university degree, and in order to be admitted into this university college collaborative program, they have to meet the university requirements set out. So that's a really common one. There are also a few other programs now that are coming out. That's okay, do you need to?
Yeah, my husband would write it downstairs.
Okay. So there are some other programs that are available as well, but these programs here are offered through the college. You're welcome. There are articulation agreements as well, which means that if a student is going to a college, let's say I'm going to Sheridan for an interior design program, which is if you're selecting the college diploma, and then you decide you'd like to continue into a school that also has that, maybe at Ryerson as an example, there may be agreements that already exist that says we need you to complete your courses at Sheridan with a certain mark, and then we will consider you for third year admission, as an example, right into the university program. So that's really showing value to the college education system and what the student has already learned. The main website for researching colleges, ontariocolleges.ca. And then the other one that I have listed on your page is myblueprint.ca. That's okay. So My Blueprint is something that we use. That's the pink and blue sheets. We talked about that this morning, where students can research apprenticeship, college, and university on all of them. But ontariocolleges.ca is a really great website because you're looking at only Ontario colleges. So My Blueprint covers across Canada. You have to put on some filters. So some students will go through Ontario colleges as well. This is also where students are applying as well. And when you click through and you're looking up a program, so here I've pulled up Computer Services Systems Technician, it will bring you through to the school website, and it brings you usually right to the page, or it will give you a list here where you can look at admission requirements. So here for this program, graduating high school, grade 12 English, either college or university, grade 12 math, and they're recommending the technical math in order to have the prerequisite information. So it takes you right here so that you can find out all that information. You can also click through, what are the tuitions? What are the career opportunities? What are my next steps? For college programs, some programs are also available through private career colleges. A benefit of going this way is that they usually condense the education. So there usually isn't a summer break, as an example, or a winter break. Sometimes you can start at all different times of the year. Some career colleges have an entry every month, every 2 months. So it's a little bit more flexible and gets you through a little bit faster if you know what your goal is and you're ready to just go out there and get it. And both community colleges and career colleges, most of the professors or the people teaching the instructors are people who work in the field. So most of the time you are looking and working with people who are currently in the field or were most recently in the field, have a lot of experience and have a lot of job connections, career connections as well. Looking at university, all universities in Ontario will require the student to graduate high school, and then 6 grade 12 U or M courses, including that grade 12 university English. Universities are also usually looking for an overall average. They also might look for, if there are certain prerequisites, a minimum mark in certain courses. So they're definitely more marks driven than the majority of college programs. There's also sometimes those additional information, an essay, a portfolio, a resume, an interview, depending on the program. But definitely the marks in those 6 courses are really important and emphasized by the universities at this time. Applying for university, you have 3 choices, usually again for around that $100 mark. And then for universities now, they've opened it up where you can pay for additional choices, and it's about $50 for each additional choice.
500?
100 for 3 choices, usually.
100, okay.
Yeah.
Those 3 choices. And extra, you say 5?
Is usually about $50. Yep. But I'm going to show you the website where you can go to actually identify it, because this does change every year. And I believe university is actually a little bit more than $100. Their equal consideration date for colleges was February 1st. For universities, it's usually the middle of January. So again, we recommend that research ahead of time in first semester and applying before Christmas, because when they come back, especially when you've got those 6 grade 12 courses and you're really focused on exams and those marks, really stressful. So getting those applications in early, again, they can make changes, but once it's in, then at least that peace of mind that, okay, it's in there, I might want to change, maybe 1 program, but I'm probably not changing all 3 programs. And then their confirmation date is by June 1st. So usually the last week of May is usually the last time students are notified if they've been offered admission. The best website for researching universities, of course we have My Blueprint, which is up here. And then this website here is electronicinfo.ca or eInfo. You can search by program, you can search by university. They've got information on here about finances, applications, also which is on ontariocolleges.ca as well. And when you pull up a program on eInfo, it will look like this. So you've got the tabs across the top, and when you click over to requirements, the diploma is assumed, it would have been on the admission side. This one here for business, we're looking at grade 12 university English, and then 2 of the 3 grade 12 university math courses. Let's see, oh, I did not. And then on the next slide, or maybe further down, it does sometimes will give you a percentage, what was last year's cutoff, so that you have an idea of what that ballpark is. Because different schools have very different percentages, and they do fluctuate by about 1 to 2% each year. If you're looking at applying out of province for university or college, whether that be in Canada or over in the States or maybe overseas, you'd be looking at doing your own research and starting early. I would recommend starting in grade 10 or grade 11. If you're looking at going to the States to complete, usually the SATs are a requirement. And there are some places, prepskills.ca, and it will be advertised through your guidance department at your school. They will host some evenings talking about it, and we definitely recommend getting involved in that grade 9 and grade 10, because students should be writing the SATs either at the end of grade 10 or during their grade 11 year, because there is quite a time frame it takes. You have to sign up so far in advance, and it takes a while, and it has to be marked and it has to come back. And the SATs, talking to the person who runs Prep Skills, are really based on our grade 10 education system. So it usually is not looking at those specialty grade 11 and grade 12 courses. There are some subject SATs that you can write that's more focused on those, but the general SATs really are looking at up to the end of grade 10. So being prepared, doing some research grade 9 and 10 so that you can write them in grade 11 is really important. One thing to know about out-of-province applications is sometimes you're applying directly to the school, sometimes they have a system that you're applying to. And everything is very different. In Ontario, our universities and colleges have come up with a system to really make it very student-friendly. But when we're looking at out-of-province, there are so many different ways that they look at that. So just doing your research. We also have students who are looking at taking a gap year. Gap years are really popular over in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, and they're becoming more popular in Canada as well, which is taking a year after high school and really getting to know who you are. Some students will spend that year working, some students will spend the year volunteering, sometimes they'll travel, sometimes they will travel and work. So many different options out there. It's becoming, again, more common, and there actually are a few places now in Ontario and in Canada where they are looking to support that. So an old system that was supported by the government was Katimavik, which was a volunteer opportunity for students to travel across Canada. Working with somebody who was working at the University of Ottawa he's opening up a company called U Mentor, which is helping to provide some structure to a gap year. So lots of different opportunities there to explore. And some students do decide that they are looking for a return to high school for an additional semester or an additional year. And it's important to know that most high schools will have a returning process, because we're really looking for, if a student is returning, what are their goals and are we able to meet them at the school? So it usually involves meeting with a guidance counselor, maybe doing some planning on myblueprint.ca, just to identify and to make sure that we are best supporting the students so that they're meeting their needs when they do leave us.
But I have a question, because
Yes.
I heard that as the high school, it's all free, so actually it's very cautious to ask them. Even some people, they think maybe they are not qualified for 10, they want to go back to 9. So sometimes the high school don't allow them to do that. So how about this return to high school?
You're talking about like changing the number of courses that are being taken?
No, I think I heard my friend, like I think they are quite new immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to the high school, they found that their age should be like 10, but they want to lower down there like to 9.
Oh, right. So looking at like different like prerequisite information and knowledge and.
Yeah, exactly. But the school say no, you cannot do that, because you should only go to 10. So I think because I understand reason why behind is because of the high school is all free. So how about you to return to high school? So if the people say after high school I still want to return to high school, it's cost or it's all free?
No, so it's still public education.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are really looking at what is that goal. So when we're talking return to high school, we're talking returning to high school after you've earned a diploma, right? Because we want all of our students to graduate. So of course that's number one. But yeah, so some of our students do graduate. Last year and over the years, I've worked with students who maybe have decided in that last year, oh, you know what, I'm changing my pathway. You know, I really wanted to be go into engineering, and now I've decided I want to go into business, and I'm missing a course, or maybe changing pathways.
Okay.
Yeah. So we guidance counselors at the school will work with students to identify, you know, what the goals are and can we support it, because sometimes too a student might say, well, I'm not ready, and I'd like to do this, this, and this, and maybe we have a different program. So for example, we have the OYAP programs, the apprenticeship programs. We have specialist high skills majors. So if we know what a student is really interested in, then we might be able to give them some opportunities that might be more unique than just maybe returning to high school. Also sometimes some support in terms of picking courses. If you are returning to high school, what are the best courses to be taking?
Okay, thank you.
And then ultimately we really want students navigating their own path. So in high school, there is no one path. You don't start in high school in grade 9 and say, okay, I am going to go forward and I am going to be a doctor and I have to take these 10 courses to get there. We really want students to identify where are their strengths, what are areas that they maybe need to work on or maybe need to explore a little bit more. We do have students who go back and forth between pathways, right? I might be interested in sciences and then I take, oh my goodness, I took grade 11 chemistry and oh, that really was not for me, but I took this photography course and that was really interesting, so I'm going to try communication technology. So we want students really exploring and taking time to reflect on their learning, where they're headed. So our pathways really are fluid, so there isn't just one road, it's a path for our students to navigate, and we're here to support. And I believe that is it for me.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Are there any questions? You can.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a, please sit down.
Yes.
I think at the beginning you said that the college and